I've just set up to film and I'm laughing so much because I literally turned the camera on and was like, oh, my background. I'm just ignoring it. I'm not paying any attention to how bad it looks. Yeah, let me just, hang on a minute. Let me just bring you guys down. Oh, so you guys may be able to tell what's going on. So I said in last week's video, in my winter makes video, that I was going to do a little knit and chat with a sort of life update. And I decided that actually I would do a bit of a vlog. So there will be some knitting and some chatting, as there always is in my vlogs. But I thought that I would vlog this week because it's a bit of a, I don't want to say special and I don't want to say sad, because neither of those quite encapsulate what it is. It's our very final week here in the Cotswolds, which is sad and really surreal. We've been here for almost 4 years. We've been living in this house for almost 4 years, and we are moving. And we're moving away somewhere that I didn't expect to move to as well. There's a whole story in that, which I will tell you shortly. But yeah, I thought that I would document our very final week in the Cotswolds, and I'm going to try not to cry too much because I am very sad about leaving. We have loved living here. We have loved the life that we've built here, and we've been really, really happy here. But basically, we made the choice because we live in Oxfordshire. We've lived in Oxfordshire for, I've lived here for over 10 years now, since I came to Oxford for uni. My husband's been here for over 12 years when he came to Oxford for uni. When we got married, both got married as students at university and continued to live here. He then got a job in Oxfordshire. And we moved into this house back in 2021 because my husband was still working in Oxfordshire. And then just a few days after we moved into this house, he was offered a job elsewhere, up in Warwickshire instead, which was fine because the commute was actually less than what he was doing from this house. So it all worked out as fine. But we have always struggled with the fact that it's quite expensive here. Oxfordshire is a very expensive county. I don't think it is anymore, but at one point it was the most expensive county in the UK. And it's not been an easy place to live and an easy place to flourish and thrive, but we have definitely made the most of it, and we have been very blessed as well. We've had a lot of prayers answered here in this area. And it's been a really wonderful place to live. And we would have liked to have stayed. But the thing that I feel I am called to do, and the way that I feel I am called to live my life, I can't do here, because I need some land, I need a bit more space, and it just isn't affordable here. I mean, you know, you're talking like upwards of £1 million for a house with a bit of land, and we're not millionaires, funnily enough. So we made the very difficult decision to leave, and initially we made the decision to move to Warwickshire, and we actually found a house, and I think some of you guys might remember this because I talked about this in previous videos. we found a house before Christmas that we put an offer in, and it was accepted, and we were going through the process of buying it. But as we were going through that process in England, if you don't know, it's very different to Scotland, it's very different to other countries. Basically what happens is you don't get any information about the house before you have an offer accepted and before you start the process. You then have to pay for your solicitors, your conveyancers to do searches on the property and on the area, and you then, if you want to, can choose to pay for a survey. In Scotland, obviously it's very different, because actually the person who's selling the house pays for all of that. So when you go to look at a house, you get all that information before you even put an offer in, which makes so much more sense, but not here. And basically all of that stuff started to come back. And I had already been quite unsure about this house in Warwickshire, and I was very worried that it wasn't the right house. And then the searches and the survey came back, and there was lots of issues, and it just wasn't right for us. It just didn't feel right. You know, we prayed a lot about it with people around us, and we thought about it a lot, and it was a really difficult few months of me just feeling like it wasn't right, but I wasn't really sure what else I was supposed to do. I wasn't sure where else I was supposed to go. We weren't seeing anything else in that area on the market that would work, that was anywhere near the size that we wanted. And so I just felt really confused and really lost. And then we found a house in Worcestershire, which is a completely different county, and did not afford us the same, like, so the house in Warwickshire was much closer to my husband's work, so the commute was much smaller, and that was one of the huge benefits of moving there, along with the slightly cheaper cost of housing. But Warwickshire isn't actually that much cheaper than Oxfordshire. It's still quite an expensive county. And so we just couldn't find what we wanted, whereas Worcestershire is a slightly cheaper county. And we were able to find a house that needed some significant work and some renovation and some help, but not stuff that we didn't feel we were able to do. And it wasn't at a price that meant that we weren't able to do it either. And so we pulled out of the house in Warwickshire and we offered on this house in Worcestershire. And I think I've mentioned many times on this channel that my husband and I are Christians, so we prayed a lot about it with our friends at church, and we prayed that if it was the right house, that it would be very obvious. And lots of different things happened that just made it very clear that this is where we feel God is calling us to be. This is where we feel He is calling us to go. And this house will allow us to start to live out some of the callings that we feel are on my life and my work in particular, and then also my husband. It does mean that my husband's commute is the same distance as it is now, which isn't great, but we feel like it's the right house and the right choice and the right thing. So this is rather a long introduction to the video, but that to say that that's what's happening right now, is that we are moving to Worcestershire. However, I just realised you just can see Pearl's ears here. However, we're not moving in straight away, because we accepted an offer on this house back in early October. It was a bit of a crazy experience. We put the house on the market on the Wednesday night, and by the Friday morning we had an offer for asking price. And that was another incredible, amazing answer to prayer, because we've been praying for a quick and easy sell, because it's not a particularly fun experience selling a house, especially when you're chronically ill. The thought of having to run around and clean the house like within like an hour's notice of somebody wanting to come around and view it did not fill me with a lot of joy, and I wasn't sure how I was going to manage that. So being able to sell it to the first person who saw it was a huge answer to prayer. And so yeah, we are in a situation where our buyer was all ready to go and getting twitchy feet, and we didn't want to lose him. So we made the decision that we would move out and we'd move into my parents' Airbnb that they own in Worcestershire. Now it's quite far over on the other side of the county, so we're buying a house on the side sort of closest to Warwickshire. They're on the other side closest to Herefordshire. So it's going to be a very long commute for my husband for a short amount of time, but it's looking like it's only going to be about 1 month, maybe 2 months before we can get into this new house that we have had an offer accepted on and that we've bought. Well, haven't bought technically yet, but we'll be buying. So yeah, that is the big life update. We're no longer buying a house in Warwickshire. We are buying a house in Worcestershire. We're moving into my parents' Airbnb for a month or two. And we're doing all of that in a week's time. So today is Monday, and we move out next week on Monday, officially at sort of like 1 p.m. So this video will be going out, I think, on the Tuesday, so just after we've moved out. So it's going to be quite an emotional video because it's my last few days in a house that I've loved so much. It's my last few days walking the dog in a field that has brought me so much joy. When we moved here in 2021, we were just coming out of lockdown in the UK. We'd had a big lockdown in 2021 that ended in the sort of Easter time, and we moved here in the summer. And previous to the lockdowns in 2019 and early 2020, I had already been in lockdown because I became severely unwell at the end of 2018 and became basically housebound with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And my life had become extremely difficult. I'd been forced to give up my job. I was forced to give up all my hobbies. I barely saw my friends. It was like being in lockdown, but as the only person in lockdown. And it was a really horrible time, and we were basically in survival mode because it was very difficult as well to survive without my salary and things. So we were in real survival mode when we moved into this house, and we prayed that we would get a few things. We really wanted a garden, we really wanted a garage, we really wanted a small village location, and we wanted dog walks from the door that were fairly accessible for me. And amazingly, we couldn't quite believe it because we basically had no budget to buy this house at all. This was the only house that came up in our budget in an area that worked. All of our prayers were answered, and we had a wonderful garden which we have grown our own food in and flowers in, and it's brought me so much joy over the last 4 years. My husband got his garage. We got a nice, very quiet village location, which has been incredible for healing my nervous system and for helping me to recover a little bit from having ME. And we have also had the walks from the door in the beautiful field, which I've shown many times in vlogs. And there's a little bit, I would imagine, at the beginning before I started speaking. And there'll be lots throughout this week, I'm sure, because it's supposed to be quite a nice sunny week. The walks from the door were incredible because I was barely leaving the house and could barely walk before we moved here. And basically me and Pearl have been doing those every day nearly since we moved here, you know, and managed sort of more and more and more in that field, and managed to walk around and managed to strengthen myself a bit. And also Pearl, who is a rescue greyhound, who is an ex-racer. Normally with ex-racers, it's very difficult to let them off the lead because they have a very strong hunting instinct and prey drive, which is then trained into them as well within the racing course. And so if they see a squirrel or a bird or something, they can be gone. So if you're near a road, you know, there's a lot of fatalities, sadly, every year from racing greyhounds that are adopted and let off the lead too early, and they run into train tracks or they run into the road or whatever. So we'd been very, very carefully training Pearl before we moved here for about 2 years to be very receptive to recall and to build that really strong bond. And when we moved here, we're in such a safe place on the edge of the village, surrounded by fields, that when we went for walks in the fields, it was completely safe to just let her off. So not only did I thrive here with my daily walks in a beautiful location, but Pearl has thrived here and learnt to be off the lead, and our bond together has grown stronger. She's always been my best buddy. I got her about 6 months after I became very unwell with ME, and so she's been with me that whole time through that whole journey. And she's having a little nap down here now, so she's been my best little buddy. So there are so many memories, I think, is what I'm trying to say. There's so much goodness. We were blessed so greatly and given so much goodness here, and we are going to something really wonderful, but there is a very bittersweet pain of leaving all this wonderfulness behind, not to mention all the friends we've made and the wonderful church that we've been a part of. So yeah, that is the life update. That is what we're currently going through this week, is saying goodbye. We have been packing for the last couple of weeks. As you can see, there are boxes everywhere. This looks absolutely horrific. It's actually not that bad. These are just all sat behind the sofa. There is like a tunnel through the room that I can get in and out of. So I'm not just like completely encapsulated in boxes for the next week. We've done it in a way that feels a bit more manageable. But we are in a 2-bed, you know, mid-terraced house. So there's only so much space when it comes to packing and being able to get things packed. We're moving a lot of stuff into a storage unit on Saturday, and then we're officially moving out to the Airbnb on the Monday. But there's all sorts of things going on. We need to do a trip on the Friday because we've got multiple cars, and we're also hiring a van. So we need to go and drop one of the cars off at my parents' Airbnb, and you know, all sorts of different things that need to happen. My husband has an old car in the garage that needs to be carefully transported and put in a garage and things like that. So there's all sorts to do over this coming weekend. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is like moving time, and we've got loads going on. But until that point, I am just working as normal. He's working as normal. So I've got an article due at the end of this week that I'm working on. I've got videos to edit, and I've got things to knit. I just finished my embroidery, which I have then popped in its little bath so that all of the lines drawn on it can soak off, which I'll get a little clip of that for you now. And so that'll be out drying. It's a lovely sunny day today, so I think I'll pop that out in the sun. At some point I will be packing up my little office and putting all my stuff away, but until then I've still got quite a lot of stuff out, which is great because a lot of that is going to the Airbnb because I'm going to need it, so in terms of like crafting and knitting and stuff. But my current project, let's have a little look at my current project. So I am working on, I spoke about this in my spring makes plans, I'm working on the rosary sweater, which this is my 3rd time making this. I made a rusty coloured one years and years and years ago when Janelle first released the pattern. So it's Rosary Apparel. It's a vintage pattern that she gives out for free if you sign up to her newsletter. I then made a like vintage style white and blue one last year for Goodwood Revival. And then this year I have frogged a cardigan that wasn't fitting and didn't work, which is Drops Lima yarn, which is a mix of alpaca and wool, in this lovely sage green. And I am knitting another version. So let's come over here. This is the front. I've already knit the back already. It's quite a quick knit because the 12-row repeat I find very easy to just remember. So I always find that I knit this rather quickly. So this is the front that I've just done the casting off for the sleeves for. So yeah, I'm expecting to have the front done possibly by the end of this week, because in preparation for the weekend and how much, like the last few weekends have been incredibly intense and tiring physically, especially for somebody with ME. So I'm gonna sort of rest as much as I can this week. So I'm working every morning, but I'm taking some time every afternoon to rest. So I'll get quite a lot of knitting time done. So I'm hoping to get the front done as well, and then it'll just be the sleeves to go, because I would really love to have this done by April, because I think it'll be the perfect April jumper. Because like today it's beautifully sunny, but it's really quite chilly, and I've got some lovely spring dresses that just need a nice woolly jumper over the top for springtime. So that was the idea, was that probably in future years I'll start wearing it in March, but hopefully to have it done by April, and depending on how warm Easter is, because it is quite late in April this year, it might make a really good Easter spring jumper. So that's what I'm going to be knitting on this week. So I will definitely get some more shots of that as I go. I will still be doing things like making sourdough bread. So I'll try and take you guys along with that. I will still be, you know, as I say, knitting and reading books and going for nice walks in the countryside. So it'll still be very much like my usual slow living country Cotswold vlogs, but there will just be a lot of boxes and that sort of aspect of, you know, my emotions around leaving. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this vlog, and I'll catch up with you later. Hi guys, excuse this crazy hair that we've got going on. Just washed it and left it to dry. It's a really beautiful day today. I think this is probably going to be mine and Pearlie's last walk, just the two of us here in our beloved field. Pearl's sad about it too. Russell is taking some time off work the next few days to help with the move, so he'll probably be with us. So this sort of quiet time that we not that quiet with Pearl, quiet time that we get in the morning, just me and Pearl walking in this field that we've done for almost 4 years now. Yeah, this is the very last time, and it feels like the Cotswolds is saying goodbye in the most beautiful way, because spring is really starting and the sun is out and it's really beautiful today. It's supposed to be beautiful all week. Pearl's trying to steal treats out of my pocket. I don't know if you could hear, I got a clip of this tree next to me that is literally buzzing. It's so loud from the bees, so I hope the audio picked that up, because it's literally buzzing. There's so many bees on it, it's amazing. And also there is a woodpecker in the woods. I don't know if the audio will have picked up on that. There was a little woodpecker drumming away whilst I was filming the tree with the bees. So it is really beautiful and really magical, and yeah, this has been a very special place to live next to for so many years. So yeah, I am just taking some time this morning to say goodbye to what has been the most life-giving space. Yeah, it feels really sad, but we are going to new and exciting things. I can't wait to show you our new home. But yeah, just gonna take some time to say goodbye. have just finished work on another feature for Love Embroidery magazine. This is my third one now. So yeah, that's really good to have had that done. It was actually due last week, but I was really unwell, so my editor very kindly gave me an extra week, and I've been able to finish it within plenty of time so that I can take this weekend off to just focus on moving house. So yeah, that is the plan. I've got some sourdough on the go, so I'm doing some stretch and folds with that over the day. It's a beautiful, gorgeous day. Got the washing outside, trying to do a bit of washing before we move. Try and empty the washing basket as much as possible before we move. But yeah, I think I'm now just going to chill for the rest of the afternoon, because I really am trying to conserve my energy for this weekend. So I'll probably just do a bit of knitting and listen to a book, maybe catch up on some YouTube or something, and yeah, not do too much today, because it all starts tomorrow morning. Getting up early and we've got a lot to do. So yeah, gonna chill a bit now. Hello everybody. Today's been interesting. Yeah, we've had a bit of a stressful setback with the mortgage for the new house. Like it's going to be fine. It's just like there's just a lot of stuff at the moment when you're applying for mortgages. Things are just so up and down. So yeah, something that we didn't really need today on top of everything else, on top of moving, but there we go. So me and Pearly are just having a bit of chill time. I enjoyed my lunch outside in the garden, which I think I got a clip of me. Here's Pearl, chilling in the garden. So yeah, I've been really enjoying the sunshine today. It's now really clouded over actually. Probably should get my washing in, it might rain. But yeah, had a gorgeous sunny day today, which is really lovely. So yeah, sourdough is currently doing its bulk ferment in the airing cupboard, which is where I tend to leave it in the winter months, because it's just not warm enough in the rest of the house. It's starting to get to the point though, like especially over summer, I can just leave it out. And in the Airbnb that we're moving into, it's quite warm, so I'll have to figure all of that out. It's all part of the sourdough process, isn't it? This little one here is just desperate for those cuddles, aren't ya? Hey? But yeah, it has been a bit of a stressful day, and you know what? I'm really craving some fish and chips. Like, we try to eat very healthy because it really helps with my chronic illnesses and things, so we have quite careful nutrition, but every now and again it's okay to have a treat. And here in the village, once a week we get a little van that comes on a Wednesday to do fish and chip takeaway. It parks down at the village hall, and you can go and get yourself some fish and chips. We live in the middle of nowhere, so like takeaways are few and far between. And this is the last Wednesday that we're going to be here. So I think when Russell gets back, I'm going to suggest that we go for a walk around the village and we pick up some fish and chips for dinner. Because that is what I want tonight. I'm just really craving some fish and chips. I filed my article at lunchtime as well, finished article for Love Embroidery, and then had all the stress being on the phone with like our mortgage broker and all this stuff that's going on. So I think that I deserve some fish and chips. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to wait for us to come home. I think I'm just going to pop on a podcast, Knitting Traditions. I've started watching her recently. She's a Norwegian knitter. She lives in a really beautiful part of Norway as well, and her latest video, she's like sat on the balcony in front of all the mountains. So I'm gonna just chill and enjoy watching that, and then hopefully go convince Russell to come and get some fish and chips in the village with me. Just wanted to show you all this really cute package that came in the post. It actually came in the post whilst I was ill, which was lovely because I really needed a little pick-me-up whilst I was quite unwell. So this is a new yarn subscription. This is from lovely Alina of Wollington. She sent it to me, and basically every month you get a little bag of 10-gram balls, which are hand dyed by a UK hand dyer. And it's a different hand dyer each month, and so this one is beehive yarns, and how cute are these? They're so cute. So lots of lovely little minis. I feel like there's almost sort of two different like sets going on here, so I feel like these go quite nicely together and these go quite nicely together, and they're little 10-gram balls. I think they're just, yeah, they're 4-ply, aren't they? So yeah, send me some ideas, guys, for homeware in particular. I want to make some nice things for our new house that I might make with some of these super cute little these super cute little yarns. So they're 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, so you could use them for like stripy socks as well, which would be quite sweet. I do love to knit socks, so I am tempted, but I also think as well, like, they're quite useful for, I often when I knit socks have like 40 grams left or something, so you could do like a toe and a cuff contrasting with one of these with a colour that I've already got. So yeah, I particularly love this one, Peony, but Peony is my favourite flower, so but yeah, thank you so much, Alina from Wollington Yarn Club. I will link her Instagram and her website below so you guys can check it out. But yeah, that was a really lovely parcel to receive whilst I was very unwell. Final night in the Cotswolds, and we have come to our local for dinner. Do you want to be on the vlog? Hi guys, it is moving day. I'm losing my voice. It is moving day, and when we first moved here, my first morning here, we've moved from a rental property that was on the side of the A40, at the sort of east side of Oxfordshire, so it's very noisy. We were never really able to open the windows, like our house was literally on the side of the A40, and we moved here and it was just beautifully quiet. And it was the summer, it was July, and I remember just opening this window and all those trees behind me were covered in leaves, and just the sound of the birds and the quiet and the countryside. So yeah, I got a little clip of the last morning. I'll put in a clip because I still have it of the first morning. Yeah, so we're just gonna pack up and then probably go on one last walk, and then that's it, we're done. Just picking my last flowers in this house. We've actually had come up as a lovely little goodbye just the last couple of days. This is a snake's head fritillary, which is actually the county flower of Oxfordshire. So that feels very correct that it came up to say goodbye just as we're leaving Oxfordshire, having lived here for, I've lived here for over 10 years, Russell's lived here for over 12 years, so yeah. Nice little snake's head to say goodbye to us. Taking some of our garden with us. We are on our final walk in our very special field. Final family walk just before we hand the keys over. And it is a glorious, glorious spring day.